Breaking news as we go on the air here at 5:59 now. We want to take you back to 77th Street right now in Roosevelt in Scottsdale, where a very precarious situation is underway with a rescue and a couple of lives there in a van. Let's bring up some video for you and show you live what's happening here on the scene.
We've got Air 15 in the box there on your upper right-hand corner. Courtney Carlmark covering this live. She's been watching this scene unfold. Courtney, at this point, it appears that rescue crews are about to attempt to reach that van, right?
Well, you guys, just minutes ago we showed you that the rescuers had the bucket from the fire truck within feet of that van. They just pulled the ladder back. So to me that says that maybe they could not get close enough to these people, because I did see a hand reach out of the van a couple times. They pulled the ladder back. They also have a boat that they blew up that's sitting there on the banks on the side of this van, so they may be attempting to reach folks that way. They're going to try to go about this the safest way as possible, because again, there are at least two people inside this van. One of them the driver, the other person is wheelchair bound. I am told that the folks inside are safe. They have been in the van for at least an hour, maybe about an hour and 20 minutes. We arrived here on the scene just before 5 o'clock, and again, we are on Roosevelt between Hayden and Miller. A lot of folks who are out here watching this happen. The road is closed. We have watched the water recede quite a bit. When I first arrived, it was just about at the 3-foot mark, and you have a marker there, and it shows you it's just about a little over 2 feet now. So the water is coming down pretty quickly, which could help rescuers in this situation. But you can see we have a lot of folks who are here, fire and police, and they're covering this from every angle. We have them on both sides of the banks in all different directions here, but again, they decide, oh, now it looks like they're backing up the fire truck, so maybe they're going to try to get a little bit closer, see if they can get the ladder a little bit closer to the van, because again, they were about 5-6 feet away from the window.
Yeah, obviously trying not to jar that van at all or make people move too far inside it, because you can see that the van is pretty tilted there. So as they back up that fire truck, try to get that ladder out a little bit closer to them, maybe they can bring someone out a window. I would think, Kirk, at this point, they really do not want to have to try to open a door with the water gushing around so fast.
Well, and it seems that Mother Nature is kind of on their side, because it's not raining. Courtney's told us that the water is slowly receding. So at this point, it doesn't seem like there's a rush to get them as soon as possible, because they are safe and they are kind of there hunkered down. But Amy's told us, you warn people all the time how easy it is for waters like this to actually move a van or a car.
Right. A foot of water, even less than that, can certainly sweep a vehicle like this, and we don't even know. That may have been the case in this instance. They may have proceeded, and that may have happened and gotten them in this predicament.
Let's take you up to Air 15 and give you kind of a bird's eye view of what's happening with all this, because you can see the tremendous amount of water. And I want to bring in Troy Barrett. Troy, we're right at 77th Street and Roosevelt, so for a lot of people who maybe don't know that area, that's right between Hayden and Miller, and there's a big park right there as well.
Yeah, there's a big park here and parts of a golf course too that's through this entire area. So this is actually set up to be a wash in this kind of situation. This is a very long park, and it does go ahead and take up a lot of water. As we move the camera back a little bit more, you can see all the water that is sort of staged right before this area here. So this is going to continue to flow on through this entire spot here where this van has been swept off the road.
It really gives you a perspective. I'm actually shocked at how much water I'm seeing there, Amy, but the storm's really rumbling through last night and everybody felt it.
Yeah, when I say there's standing water, even if it's not raining where you are, this is the sort of situation we're seeing, and we did have heavy amounts of rain. We're not getting any major totals in as yet. We will throughout the morning, however, but again, we had flash flood watches in effect all night long, which have been allowed to expire, but we do have an urban and small stream flood advisory specifically for situations like this because of the runoff from the heavy rain. It should continue through about 9 a.m. We want to remind people not to drive through washes, and if they see running water in low-lying areas, don't try to proceed through it. You don't know if the road is washed out underneath.
Well, and you had said that it only takes a foot of water to move a car, and we saw that it's over 2 feet of water out there, at least by that measurement stick they have out there. And Courtney, if you're still with us, Troy mentioned that this is a wash area, and there are actually signs there to warn people not to drive through this area, correct?
Yeah, I see two signs. I'm looking at them right now. The first one says, do not enter when flooded. The second one actually has a light that starts to flash when the water level gets too high. and right now the water level is just over 2 feet. When I got here, it was 3 feet. So clearly this is a problem area that floods often enough that they have the signs here, and this person just decided to go on through. And I do want to let you guys know that we have some rescuers on the other side of the van now, and they have a cable that they've attached to a tree, so it looks like they may be using that in this rescue to try to stabilize the van just in case, you know, something does happen.
Yeah, as you look at that van, you can see as it kind of came into that rushing water, the right side tires have sunk down into something, and perhaps that's the ledge of the road. And what they don't want to happen here is for this thing to go and to flip over on its right-hand side, because if you're just joining us right now, this water rescue at 77th Street in Roosevelt is with a transport van that's a dependable medical transport services van. And what that means is that they transport people who are medically disabled for any reason, and in this case, the person inside, the driver, and then the back, a person that is wheelchair bound. So they obviously can't just get out and try to get out of this thing, and so we're really on a precipice here of disaster if they don't get this thing shored up and tightened up before they try to open a door or a window. I want to bring in Brandon for a minute here, because this is right at 77th Street in Roosevelt. It's a busy area right between Hayden and Miller. Obviously, you don't want anybody else driving through here, so how do you get around this area?
Well, it looks like the flooding is pretty much contained to this general area, so you would be safe to use Hayden Road. You could also use Miller Road. Scottsdale Road is another major roadway that you could use as well, but I think seeing is believing, and hopefully when people see this, it makes them realize don't drive through standing water. And you know, there was those 2 signs that warned these people not to drive when it's flooded, and this is what happens. Just a little bit of water can just, you know, take your car right away. So when you look at this picture, this is just an example. Do not drive through high standing water.
And when you look at this picture, you can see the front tire. The water's all the way almost up to the top of the front tire. And more importantly, you can see the water rushing. And that's kind of the scary part. You know, these guys out there, these emergency crews, they train for this stuff over and over and over again. And they have to be careful. And Connie, you mentioned that somebody is inside this van in a wheelchair bound. I mean, that really complicates the situation, because a situation like this is so difficult and so just strategic to begin with, and then you add the complication of somebody who can't stand up and get out and really help the rescuers, help them. So that makes it even more dicey here, and that has to be a lot of the reason why they're just taking their time.
I think strategic is the word there, because we have not seen anybody go more than ankle deep into this water. The rescuers really staying back and trying to assess how best to do this. If you've been just joining us, we've been watching this now for about 15-25 minutes or so, and we've seen the fire truck actually reassess the way it was coming in on this van and back the truck back up a little bit more and go back now again onto the ladder there and head back on this cherry picker sort of thing with the ladder to get a little bit closer to the van. So they're really watching how they approach this vehicle.
And we have 2 operations going on kind of simultaneously here. We've got the bucket truck that you can see, the bucket fire engine truck there. But on the other side, there's some sort of situation with a cable. So not sure if maybe they're going to attach a cable to the van to help stabilize that. Not sure if they're going to use that in a different way. Sometimes they get those in the water so they can use that to stabilize themselves as they walk out to a vehicle. A lot of different options here.
And Amy, I would assume they're probably having that conversation about, after all this rain, how much do we think this tree is going to hold?
I'm sure they are. And you know, we want to remind people that most flood deaths occur in automobiles. Wow. And this just exacerbates the situation. You know, if that's your loved one in there, you're freaking out right now. You are panicking because, as we mentioned, that person is most likely disabled. But again, Kirk pointed out the front of the automobile almost is submerged. At least the water is past the front tire, and it takes about a foot of standing water or rushing water to move a vehicle, and they're almost at it.
Yeah, it's not going to take much here. I want to go back out to the scene. We've got Courtney Carl Mark for us on the ground, Troy Barrett in the air. Troy, let's start with you. What are you seeing as you kind of can tell now these guys are getting much closer to the window? Is there a way to get around to really see the difference between the span there of distance?
Well, the distance, it looks like it's maybe sitting at about 2, maybe 3 feet at this point. They do have a light on the front of the ladder here from that fire truck, and they're trying to at least get in there and see what they can see, and maybe see what they're up against, how many people might be inside, and see if they can get in there and get those folks out, or anyone out safely.
Courtney, let's jump out to you on the ground there watching this unfold. Are they trying to talk to the people inside right now? Are they trying to assess the situation? Are they trying to climb inside? Can you tell?
Yeah, you guys, it looks like they have gotten extremely close. This is the second attempt. I would say they are just nearly right up on that van. They are kind of leaning down toward the window. It looks like they could be talking with folks and at least getting a good look inside. Just like Troy said, they have a bright light so they can see, and they came at it at a little bit of a higher angle. Then they're lowering it down right to that window level. I can see, it looks like a rescuer right now is getting inside of the van. Yep. There he goes. Okay, so they've made it inside the van, probably to help these folks get on to the bucket. So this may be a successful rescue here, you guys, but you can see they got a lot closer this second time around.
Yeah, Courtney, and it sounded like as he started to go in there and they were talking to them, I could hear somebody kind of screaming or something. Was that the person inside? Oh, and there she goes. One of them's climbing out now. What do you see there?
Yeah, I can see a person who's climbing out. At this point, I can't tell male or female, but we definitely have one person who made it onto a bucket. They're standing up there. You may even have a better view than I do because the camera is zoomed in.
I think we kind of do here. It looks like a woman, probably in her mid-30s or 40s, perhaps. I can't quite tell, but obviously she's on 2 feet, which is great, and seems to be moving along fairly easily here.
So what you're watching live is a water rescue operation unfolding as we speak in Scottsdale. 77th Street, Roosevelt, a van, looks like some sort of medical transport van, stranded in floodwaters, and we hear there are 2 people inside. So you're watching one person walk up the ladder of the fire truck right now, and we believe there is somebody else, possibly the person who is wheelchair bound, still in that van, and rescuers, you can see they're peering into the van, probably trying to figure out how they're going to get the next person out.
Yeah, something this woman, I'm sure, never thought she would be doing today when she got inside that van, but it just shows you how quickly things can change when you take your vehicle into running water, into a place there that is a low area you don't want to be during a flood.
And what we're talking about, 2.5 feet of water at this point. Courtney says the water has receded a bit since she arrived there about half an hour, 40 minutes ago. And we got Air 15 in the sky watching this. We've also got the other angle, which is on the ground here, our crew there covering this. And she appears to be reaching the fire truck. Probably pretty happy to be there.
Yeah, limping a little bit too, and you know that she might be the person who I would assume is the person who was what they called wheelchair bound. And this van is called Dependable Medical Transport Services, so they transport people who can't get around very well, and she seems to be limping a little bit, so this might be her. The good news, if that is the case, is that she was able to walk out alone.
Right.
And as we were watching this all unfold and hearing that there was someone in there that may have issues getting out, the fear was that they really would not be able to walk out on their own.
Well, and as we said, I mean, these operations are touch and go and very sensitive to begin with, but then you add the complication of medical needs to everything, and it really makes it even more difficult. So at this point, crews appear to be working to get that second person out, and not sure if there's somebody in the van right now, a rescue crew member in the van, but they look to be coaching somebody possibly, and they've been taking their time. We've been watching this for, what would you say, half an hour, 40 minutes now, and they really have taken this slow, step by step. The good news is, again, Mother Nature on their side this morning.
You see a lot of the neighbors coming out to watch as well. This is right near Vista del Camino Park. It's a very popular and a large park right there at 77th Street and Roosevelt in Scottsdale. And for people who live in the neighborhood, you clearly know that this is a low-lying area, and the power of what can happen with this type of rain is really dangerous and scary.
Yeah, we had torrential rain overnight in most areas of the valley. Most of it's well east of Phoenix right now, but we still have an urban and small stream flood advisory. And specifically, runoff from our heavy rain is going to continue through 9 a.m. So this continues through 8:30 this morning, the small stream advisory, and basically keep an eye on washes. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, the second person now being pulled out of this van. Again, we believe there's only 2 people in there. We are told that at least one of them was considered wheelchair bound, and not sure the
this
extent
might be
of
that person. You know, honestly, the woman who came
time.
out may have been the driver of this van, because it looks like this gentleman is having a much tougher time trying to navigate this whole thing. So that may have been what they did, is get the driver out first, get her out safely, and now get this gentleman out of his wheelchair and get him onto this truck. And now that final rescue worker, the person who went inside the truck, getting out. So at this point, we do believe that the whole entire van is empty, everybody's out, and more than likely now they won't make this man move any farther than where he is. They'll just pull the ladder truck back. But an amazing rescue here by Water Rescue Team. They really did this by the book.
Oh yeah, big sigh of relief. They took their time. They knew they had a little bit of time to work on this. And frankly, let this be a reminder to all of us how serious those signs are because there are signs of this area that say when you see water, do not try to enter through this area. They're serious, and Amy has told us it takes a foot of water to move a car, so this shows you how dangerous, how crazy a situation can get just in a matter of minutes.
Sure gives me goosebumps. You know, we've been doing this for 25 years, and sometimes these things don't turn out well.
You're right. You're right. There's
Good to
a
see
family
that it's-
member somewhere who's very grateful that you know, we have these water rescue guys who
Yep.
did it the right way.
Well, from this wide shot here, you can really see how they evaluated the scene when they arrived. So they brought the ladder truck, they brought a raft, they tied a cable to the truck. So many different options that they tested out to see what is the best one, and obviously the ladder truck was, and 2 people got out safely, so that's good news.
Everybody out safe. Our crew's there over the scene for you live in Air 15. We're also down on the ground. We'll keep following all of this for you, but it looks like 2 people safe. And we're back with much more on ABC 15 Mornings right after this.